Good morning, I'm Kathryne Gardette, and we're here at Cafe Vivace for Soapbox Media on the Ground Open Newsroom. I'm here with my neighbor and friend, Wes Crout. You might have heard earlier we were talking to Lisa. So Wes, Lisa told us about how you moved into the neighborhood and Ruby's at Douglass. Tell me about your involvement at Douglass.
So our older daughter Ruby is in first grade at Douglass. She went there last year for kindergarten, and she's a little past halfway through first grade now. I wanted to get involved in Douglass as much as I could, so I joined the LSDMC, which is the local school decision-making committee. It's kind of a mixture of community members, parents, school staff that help guide the school. I do as much as I can with that. We help kind of make changes at the school that would benefit all the kids. I'm also heavily involved in the PTO, so the Parent-Teacher Organization, and we plan fun events. We try to get new things coming into Douglass, new after-school programs, and I'm at Douglass enough where kids ask me what grade I teach, which is kind of unfortunate because I don't actually work in Douglass, but
that's how Give Back is that you become so part of the community that you know, which is great. And you've been here a while now.
Yep, it's going on a decade.
Tell me, in the course of the time that you've been here, where else have you given in the community?
So I served a partial term. I finished out a partial term on the area council a couple of years ago. Spent time obviously going through projects that were coming into the city or into the neighborhood in the city, and deciding what we wanted Walnut Hills to look like now and in 10 years. We participate in volunteer pop-up stuff, whether it's cleanup or whether it's just events. But yeah, other than that, I try to spend as much money as I can in the neighborhood, which might sound like an odd way to give back, but I think that anytime we have a decision that we're making to leave our house to go do something, our first question is, can we do it in Walnut Hills? And 90% of the time, the answer is yes.
It's great that we can keep our money right here in the neighborhood. I love that because, there is this belief that if you spend money in your neighborhood, then the places where you spend your money will stay in your neighborhood. And we have some great places here. Now, I know Ruby and Mira have their favorite spots. Do you have your favorite spot in the neighborhood?
I don't know that I have my favorite spot in the neighborhood. Ruby doesn't know, my older daughter Ruby doesn't know that the restaurant of Gomez is called Gomez. She knows that it's called Turtle Tuesday because I try to go every other Tuesday and get a turtle from Gomez. So she'll ask me if I'm going to Turtle Tuesday. So that might be my favorite, but Brewhouse is an easy answer for favorite. Tina knows us. We try to go on days where we know that Tina is working because she takes such good care of us. But yeah, I don't know. I'll go wherever the girls want to go that day. Is probably my favorite.
So tell me a little bit about Ruby and Mira's cleanup process. I know there's the St. James Pocket Park. They like playing over there.
Yeah. So Ruby and Mira love walking in the neighborhood, which is pretty awesome. We try to go to Parkside for brunch, breakfast. Not quite every weekend, but as close to every weekend as possible. And no matter the weather, we don't go if we can't walk. So we're not going to drive. It's about a mile. We've been doing it for 5 years now. So even when Ruby was just over 1 year old, she would walk the entire way. It would take a lot longer than it did. But at some point, she got to the idea of seeing trash and not liking it. And so she will point out litter the entire way and ask if she can pick it up. So we got to the point where we carry bags and gloves with us even at times, just to pick up little bits that we can, and they just want to keep their neighborhood beautiful, and they like pretty things, which makes that easy, I guess.
It does. So finally, just tell me about one of your favorite projects that you've worked on in the neighborhood.
I don't know. Project always seems like you feel like you're building something.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think of it that way. So part of the PTO at Douglass last March, not quite a year ago, we hosted our first lock-in at the school, and we had, I think it ended up being 45 kids come and spend the night, full range of ages between kindergarten and 6th grade. We had movies, we had basketball tournaments, we had crafts, and I think that was my favorite project because it got kids from Douglas to come and spend a night at the school that wasn't about school, right? They got to mingle with their teachers in ways that they wouldn't normally. They got to meet other kids that weren't in their grade. And we repeated that in October this past year, and we're going to keep those going. So I think my favorite project is probably the lock-ins.
So here you have it. A dad's favorite project is being with little people, not just his own, but those who also reside in the community of Walnut Hills and go to Frederick Douglass, which is our neighborhood school. So I want you to remember that we have a wonderful public school right here in Walnut Hills. We actually have two, but our neighborhood school is Frederick Douglass. Ruby goes there. Wes and Lisa have lived in this neighborhood for 9 years. Come join us. Give Walnut Hills a look. And this is Kathryne Gardette signing off from Cafe Vivace, where Soapbox Media has received a Facebook Journalism Project grant to bring you these Facebook Lives. See you in a few with our final guest of the day.